Hello and welcome to this week's productivity show, and apologies for being just a few minutes late. Had a slight hiccup just as about to go live. You might have seen me briefly flash up on the screen because I forgot the earphones, and just to prove that we're all human. And so here we are, our productivity show, and this evening we're talking about how to stay on track and on purpose. And you may have seen earlier on today that I posted a graphic which has 5 steps in a ring and a circle. And this for me is very much, it's a bit like electricity. In this country, in England, we have 3-phase electricity, which means that in our standard 13 amp plug, we have 3 wires. We have a live, we have a neutral, and we have an earth. And we have to have all 3 wires present, otherwise whatever device we have plugged in won't work. And if we don't have the earth cable, that's very much like these 5 steps that I put into this, because whilst each one of them stands alone in its own right, they all need to be present. One, so that we can achieve our goals, but secondly, so that we remain on track and on purpose. Now, the 5 steps are our beliefs, our values, our purpose, which is where we're going to focus tonight, our vision, and also our goals. So one of the things I hear lots of people, oh, hi Nikki, and thanks for that piece of feedback. Yes, I thought about what you said last week. I've been experimenting with different microphones. I've got a big Blue Yeti external microphone, which on this, I've also swapped from Windows to a MacBook. And for some reason, it's been playing up with the MacBook. So I've gone back to the good old-fashioned earphones and small microphone. So going back to the 5 steps, one of the things that I hear a lot is people struggle to achieve their goals, and there's a multitude of reasons why that is. But what I want to talk to you about tonight is this thing called purpose, and this is one of the mechanisms that I've used with myself and with other people to help stay back. Now, there's 2 purposes to your life purpose. One is enable us to keep track and stay on track on what we're doing, but it's also a means for us to stay true to achieving our goals. So this process, it's called My True Life Purpose. And it's a process, and it is a process because there's a series of steps to go through. And it's a process that I discovered probably about 6 or 7 years ago when I did all my training in NLP and hypnosis. And your true life purpose it's a series of questions that you answer for each phase of your life. What happens at the end of it is you come out with it with a statement that defines your purpose in life. Now, the interesting thing for me is that just prior to actually discovering and being trained in this process, I was working in Essex in an engineering company. It was a big IT project to implement a new method of working, of delivering projects, and a new program management tool. So it's a very sophisticated piece of software. If you've ever used Microsoft Project, it's a server-based version of all the different projects. And I found myself doing lots of training. I was training project managers, not just in how to use that tool, but how to follow the process that we developed, about how they're going to go through the change, but also I was teaching them how to plan, because a lot of project managers, although they've been running projects for a long while, it's probably true with a lot of business owners, they've never actually been taught how to plan. So I was standing up in front of groups of 10 and 15 people several times a week training, and the light bulb came on in my head, and I thought, I actually enjoy doing this. For the first time in my life, being a trainer and also doing presentations was exciting me, and I was motivated by it. So wind the clock forward probably about a year, 18 months, and I went through this process of being taught and also defining my true life purpose. And what came out of it for me was a statement that went something like this. So my true life purpose is me being the best that I can be to help you be the best that you can be. Now, that sounds fairly innocuous, but the truth of the matter is, every time I do something that doesn't fit that purpose, doesn't fit my values, doesn't fit my vision, it feels as uncomfortable as if I was wearing somebody else's shoes. Now, if you've ever worn somebody else's shoes, you'll know exactly what that feels like. Yes, they might be the same size, but there's something about them that doesn't quite fit. Now, the one thing I know about where and when I work is, if there's an element of training involved, or standing up, presenting and coaching like I'm doing now, then I'm incredibly fired up, motivated and eager to do it. Which is why, if I take on a piece of work, it has to have those elements in it. A couple of years ago, I found myself working at Heathrow Airport, which is a very prestigious organisation, and I was part of a baggage transformation programme. This was a £500 million programme to transform the whole way that Heathrow manages baggage, from the time that you check in to the time that the bags get onto the aeroplane. An incredible piece of work, but the job I was asked to do was very mechanical. It was very procedural. It was all about streamlining the reporting process. But because of this purpose that I have around helping other people get better, both in a healing way, but also in a training job, very quickly became demotivated. Yes, I saw the content out. It was a 6-month piece of work, but for the bulk of my time, I didn't have a lot to do. So I got very bored, very distracted. And when it actually came to doing the job I'd been employed to do, my motivation was low, and I was very easily distracted from the task because it didn't fit my purpose. So that purpose enables us, one, to stay on track, because when you put all of this piece of the jigsaw together, you have your beliefs, you have your values, you've defined your life purpose, you've created this powerful vision of where you want to be in the future, and you've defined your goals, because they all sit together. Although it represented in a circle or a wheel, it actually fits together a little bit like a pyramid, where if you invert the pyramid, all of those things support each other. Each one stands up in its own right, but they are all interlinked and help you, one, stay on track, because once you go through this whole process, and the last part of the process is define your goals, this thing up here, the little old unconscious mind, does everything it can to keep you on track, deliver your vision and living your purpose. I'm about to go away for a couple of days and do a piece of training for one of the government agencies on the sort of the agile way of delivering projects. And again, because it fits my purpose around helping people helping them get better and transform the way they run their part of the business, my motivation levels are up there. It's the question of, did I really want to do it when I was asked, don't even come into it, because it fits exactly the sort of thing that I want to be doing. So what I'm going to do is, after this session, I'm going to make available a template that will actually guide you through that process. Now, this process works best if we get on the phone one-to-one or Skype or on Zoom, and I actually lead you through it. But if you want to take the process, take the template and actually have a stab at it yourself, I'm more than happy to make that available for you. Just drop a note in the comments box, even if you're watching this on the replay afterwards, and I'll get that template out to you as soon as I possibly can. Now, I know there's a number of people that watch the replay of this because they're all to the side of the Atlantic and on a different time zone. And there's a couple of people, this has also been circulated on LinkedIn this afternoon. So there's another couple of people who have asked me if they can get access to the replay. So obviously if you're here on Facebook, you can get it here, but it's also available on my blog afterwards. But what I'd really like to know in terms of productivity, we've covered a number of things over the last 2-3 weeks. So we've got another week to go before the next session. What I'd really like to know is what is it that you would like me to cover that will help you become more productive and help you stay on track and achieve your goals. If you're on the call now and you want to drop that in the comment box, by all means do so. Otherwise, post it after the event. We've got up until this time next week for me to have a look at it and prepare ready for next week's session. Or if there's something completely different that you want to cover, a lot of the work I do is with this thing here. It's around mindset and about overcoming barriers. I had a call today with a law firm in Birmingham because one of the big challenges that they have at the moment is they're implementing new systems, new processes, new ways of working. Is they've got a massive resistance to change in the organization. I'm working one-to-one with individual clients. If that's something that you want to hear more about how you can overcome the resistance to change, then I'm more than happy to cover that on either next week's session or one of the subsequent sessions. So by all means, over the next week, if you have queries, questions, then drop them in the comments box or drop them as a new post in the Facebook group. And I look forward to seeing and speaking with you next week. This is Chris Hallett from The Productivity Show. Thank you very much.